So I don't really think that at this point, if you're a fan of me, I have to give an introduction to the content creator Keffals. She has blown up on Twitter and on Twitch. She is the ratio queen. Ratios the dumb chuds so that we don't have to. And frankly, she's sort of like a shining example of how the left does have the power to, kind of get together and achieve something good if they use numbers. Like, not just canceling a fellow lefty content creator who like isn't lefty enough to not leftier than like with a leftier than thou like cancel mob, but actually doing something good, like taking down Kiwi farms, for example, or like her ratioing of a lot of conservative figures. Now, I'm not going to say that ratioing is necessarily activism, but let's be honest. When people's idea of winning an argument online is who has the most people agreeing with them and who is the most popular, ratioing people on Twitter kind of does work to like pull people over, Some people really do base their politics off of who dunks on the opposite faction hardest. At least they do until they, figure out what's going on with politics and what's the world's really like. At least you would hope. Keffals has blown up, and she's really kind of like revolutionized what it means to do lefty content in a way. Not many figures before her have done as much as she has to just kind of destroy entire communities of right-wing trolls. It's actually pretty impressive. Though, it has had its downsides. She has been swatted. She has been doxxed numerous times. She is the recipient of nonstop harassment, and I believe that Destiny is looking to sue her now. Defamation or something. I don't know if that's going to go through, but just the idea of getting sued because I talked about a streamer in a negative way is just absolutely horrifying, especially because that streamer just has more money and they can. With that said, one of the natural inevitabilities of becoming a popular left-wing content creator is that the gatekeepers on the left that just despise the idea of the left getting bigger, they will make it their goal to take you down. It doesn't matter what your identity is. It doesn't matter how much id pull you use to defend yourself. And it doesn't matter how much of a good debater you are or how much of a like competent spreader of the ideals of leftism or whatever or progressivism is. It doesn't matter. There are people out there that genuinely just want to gatekeep the left and hate the idea of it getting bigger because they want it to be their little close-knit hug box club. It should not be. It is a political movement, not a fucking library safe space, okay? With that said, though, without a doubt, the most common accusation I've seen thrown at lefty figures that literally just don't do anything that warrants any criticism, like they just keep their nose so clean that there isn't really much that you could even misinterpret as being racist or sexist or transphobic or homophobic or anything like that. I find that they always fall back on ableism, particularly against streamers. Now, obviously, the go-to would just be to say, yeah, well, streamers say the R slur, so of course they attack them for ableism. It's easy. Well, Keffals doesn't. In fact, the reason why I think they do this is because Shark's been accused of ableism, I believe, even though Shark, I don't even think, says the R slur. I believe it's because anything can be labeled ableism at the end of the day. Like, really think about it for a minute. Any talking down to somebody else and saying they're wrong and they're not capable of coming to the correct conclusion is kind of ableist. Words such as dumb, stupid, lame, etc. that we use every day, they can argue is ableist. Just as rooted in, ableism as something like the N-word is rooted in racism. It's kind of, like, if you really want to get pedantic about it, they can try to go low and, like, kind of play dirty to try to make you look bad if you haven't done anything that's, like, iffy enough that they can, kind of twist it into something that looks worse than, another type of ist or ism, Now, they obviously do this because they don't have any real reason to dislike these figures, and they just need something. The thing that Keffals has been, accused of is, of course, ableism. Now, without a doubt, the perfect tweet, I think, to just sort of formulate the entire narrative around Keffals being ableist, the entire accusation, has to be this very short tweet thread right here. And I'm going to show it to you guys, and I'm going to have to ask you guys to just dig your nails deep into your armrests right now, because maybe get like a belt or something and start biting down on it, because this is going to really make you cringe, and you're just going to, it's going to be painful. Let me take a drink of water first. All right. I'm going to start with the Keffals tweet, because it is very harmless. I'm not going to show the Keffals tweet on stream, because if I do, then I'll spoil the response, okay? Here is Keffals' tweet. I don't care if you like me or not. I live next to the train tracks. All I need to get pussy is tell an autistic girl she can watch the trains go by at my place every few hours. I'm better than you. This is still a banger, which was posted like a year later or something. So yeah, basically, they got mad. They said that this was ableist, but they didn't say it was ableist for the reason I expected them to, okay? Now, for me, I would expect somebody to claim that's ableist with something along the lines of, how dare you? Somebody who's, I don't even know if Keffals is neurotypical, but we'll assume, they would assume, who's neurotypical claim this stereotype, whether it be positive or seemingly harmless or not, that autistic people like trains. I like how they didn't even argue that and just kind of accepted. That is not where it goes. They do not even try to argue against the concept of autistic people being enamored by trains. That is my favorite part of this. I'm about to show you the response, and I don't feel like it's going to go where you expect it to, because I thought it was going to be like, how could you say that autistic people are enamored by trains? Nope. Completely agrees to that. Let's read the actual tweet. Content warning: sexual coercion, graphic sexual language. Ever since I saw these two tweets, I have been working really hard to self-regulate and not spiral. So we're starting with, these tweets were so triggering for them that they are trying not to spiral into a mental breakdown because of these tweets from Keffals. That's where we're starting. Tweets are causing a mental breakdown. Tweets not aimed at anybody are causing a mental breakdown. I want to be clear, by the way, if you are this mentally fragile, you should not be on the internet. I know this sounds like a really harsh conservative take or whatever, but if you are this mentally fragile that a joke tweet not even targeted at you, that is possibly the most soft and like not even close to being like offensive thing I've ever seen a live streamer say, if that is going to cause you to spiral, and spiral means like a lot more than have a mental breakdown, by the way. Spiral, from like what I can tell, implies like manic depression, right? Like this implies like a PTSD like related manic depression, like this is like something way more dangerous for themselves than just like being triggered by something on Twitter. Like there's way more being implied here, at least from my view. So we're already starting off very well. I don't need to rehash my trauma to explain why these things are bad. I'm a black woman. They'll say I'm lying anyway. So here we have, I don't need to defend my point because I'm a black woman and anyone who disagrees with me is racist, so they'll just not listen and say I'm lying. We really are. This is a certified Twitter moment. This right here is a certified Twitter moment, and it doesn't even end here. We get an extra tweet as well that just kind of goes a little bit more into detail. Autistic girl. An autistic girl cannot consent to sex. If you mean autistic woman, you are infantilizing an adult. If you mean autistic girl, you are sexualizing a child. Words matter and folks should be specific. I don't care what context you personally used it in the past. So of course this is just a massive reach of like, this person is bad because my interpretation of the English language is different from theirs. And my interpretation of the English language dictates that what they said is offensive, even though their interpretation is completely different and does not mean the same thing. Probably one of the biggest reaches I've ever seen. By the way, the abusive sides, the woke scoldy sides of the online left, have a massive problem with infantilizing autistic people and making it out as though anybody who is like neurotypical that engages in a relationship with a autistic person or anybody who's a not neurotypical as being like a power imbalance and a problem. I've seen motherfuckers in this app argue that one person having more Twitter followers than the other leads to a harmful power imbalance, okay? Ironically, that tweet is actual ableism. It is in fact actual ableism. Do you know what happened back when I was a smaller content creator and the slimy pieces of shit wanted to go after me for no other reason, as they're doing right now to Keffals, for no other reason than I was getting popular and I was doing a good job spreading the left's ideas? First, they tried to hit, before they tried to hit me with the sex cult allegations, they tried to hit me with the ableism allegations. There was this slimy piece of shit named Corvidae who like tried to claim that I was ableist because I used the R slur. I know that sounds very ridiculous now that there would be an entire debate about the use of the R slur. But yeah, 2019 lefty YouTube legitimately would just tear you apart for saying the R slur. It just would happen. Yep, and then naturally that debate ended up falling down to the talk about the spooky person that started the whole debacle with the sex cult drama. And sex cult drama, and it ended up leading to Corvidae infantilizing them and more or less saying that autistic people can't consent to sex or any sexual encounter with a neurotypical person. Though frankly, it would be a stretch to say that I'm neurotypical in my opinion, but you know, still. Regardless, this is only a sample, okay? There are a lot of tweets claiming that Keffals is ableist. They've really popped up now in particular since she finished her crusade against Kiwi farms. It's like these people were like, oh good, she finished fighting battles that we're too cowardly to fight. Let's take her down now. Because she can only fight back so much, you know? So with that said, if you enjoyed this video, then I definitely recommend that, well, you leave a like, because this kind of behavior is very shitty, and I don't want people to encourage it. In fact, I recommend that you also give Keffals a sub, and go give Keffals a follow, because the more followers that she has, the more that she can ratio people. And ratioing people is the way. And of course, if you want to see more from me, you can also subscribe, ring the bell icon, follow my social medias, all linked down below. And if you want to support me financially so that I'm able to produce more content for you guys, you can always support me on YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, or Patreon. And of course, finally, you can support me on my website, xanderhall.com/live. With all that said, thank you so much for watching. That's all.